Ranthambore National Park operates as a fractured empire. The borders here are constantly shifting, drawn and redrawn by violent successions between massive apex predators. Power in this jungle follows a specific bloodline. This lineage traces back to the legendary tigress Machli, through her daughter T14, and ultimately down to the current matriarch, a tigress named Noor. Noor, also known as T39, patrols her inherited domain with absolute authority. She dictates exactly who hunts and breeds within these coordinates. Success in Ranthambore requires more than hunting skills. Survival depends on a tiger's ability to hold the geopolitical boundaries passed down through generations. For years, Noor maintained territorial stability alongside a massive male named Ustad. They established a cooperative dynamic, sharing kills and successfully raising a healthy male cub named Sultan. That stability collapsed when 4 humans were killed within Ustad's territory. Following these attacks, local authorities labeled the apex male a man-eater. The dispute reached the Indian Supreme Court, sparking a nationwide debate over wildlife management. The final ruling resulted in Ustad's permanent exile to a biological park in Udaipur. This human intervention created an instantaneous vacuum of power, a gap in the hierarchy that the local ecosystem was biologically unprepared to fill. Following the removal, Noor continued to call out across the brush for her mate. For weeks, her behavior was defined by an ongoing search for a partner never to return. The consequences soon reached their offspring. Sultan, now a young adult without his father's protection, was forced to abandon his birthright territory to avoid conflict with encroaching rivals. Wildlife teams launched operations to track the young prince as he moved beyond the park's protected zones, but the search was eventually called off. Sultan had vanished. Noor was left to defend the throne alone. She was now nursing a second litter of cubs, leaving her and her offspring completely vulnerable to any male entering the territory. In the wild, an apex male's presence acts as a shield. Once that dominant male is removed, every dependent inside his territory becomes an immediate target. A peripheral male named Aurangzeb soon moved into the unguarded territory. He immediately claimed the grounds Ustad had once patrolled. Biology suggests a violent transition. An incoming male typically kills previous offspring to trigger the female cycle. However, Aurangzeb refrained. He bypassed this drive, adopting a cooperative role to help raise the previous litter. He guarded this new family unit with lethal force. When his own brother, Rocky, attempted to enter the zone and challenge his claim, Aurangzeb fought him off to maintain the territory. In this instance, an individual behavioral anomaly rewrote the local rules of survival. By ignoring standard instinct, Aurangzeb secured a stable kingdom in record time. With Aurangzeb holding the perimeter, the territory stabilized. Noor transitioned from constant vigilance back into a successful breeding cycle. This stability allowed her to raise a third generation. Her cubs, T105, 106, and 107, successfully reached adulthood, ensuring that the royal Machli dynasty continued despite the earlier collapse. Large male tigers like Ustad often define the headlines and the legal battles of the park. However, their reigns are frequently short-lived and subject to sudden, violent ends. The matriarchs are the true anchors of this ecosystem. Noor absorbed the shocks of human interference and territorial warfare, surviving long enough to rebuild her kingdom. Resilient females like Noor write the long-term history of Ranthambore. They endure the successions and pass the throne to the next generation.